Good evening. Thank you for joining us for WMAR-2 News at 7. I'm Sayara Williams. This Memorial Day, we're taking the time to look beyond the barbecues and sales to the real meaning of this day. In this half-hour special, we share powerful stories from families who lost loved ones during service and after they came home, some to suicide. We also show how grief called others to serve in new ways and how veterans are building spaces of healing and hope. Tonight, we remember the fallen and ensure that they're never forgotten. One of the most visible reminders that this day is about sacrifice comes not just in silence, but also sound. The steady hum of motorcycles rolling in tribute. Well, for the Patriot Guard riders, that sound marks not only a tradition, but a promise. That's where our first story begins, where one man's grief turned into a mission and into a movement to make sure no hero is ever forgotten. Every Memorial Day, the sounds of motorcycles rolling through Delaney Valley Memorial Gardens signal more than just a procession. They mark a solemn promise that no fallen hero will be forgotten. The Patriot Guard riders, patriotic motorcyclists, and volunteers have participated in the ceremony for nearly 2 decades. For one man, their presence is personal.
I didn't see the motorcycles at first. All I saw was just what I described as a wall of flags.
Mark Krause of Ellicott City lost his nephew, Marine Lance Corporal Matthew Snyder, in 2006. He was just 20 years old when he died in Iraq.
He had only been deployed for 3 weeks when he was killed.
When Mark got the news, he says it broke him. They were close.
You know, you hear people say all the time, well, he died doing what he loved. And I think that's true with him. I think obviously he would prefer to come back home. And in fact, that was the last thing I said to him when I talked to him on the phone. I said, you better come back home.
But on the day of Matthew's funeral, something extraordinary happened. 60 members of the Patriot Guard riders showed up, coming from 5 different states, to stand silently to show respect.
They rode 4 hours on motorcycles from New York. To have 60 strangers show up like that, it's amazing.
It was that moment that sparked something in Mark. Their compassion carried him, and soon he was volunteering with them, standing for other families like his own.
To give comfort to the families, because just knowing that somebody is there to support you, having seen it from both sides, it makes a difference.
Mark has become assistant state captain for the Patriot Guard riders, helping lead their presence at ceremonies across Maryland, including at Delaney Valley each Memorial Day.
We will go and have a flag line outside of the funeral home or the cemetery. We'll do escorts from the church to the cemetery, whatever the family wants us to do.
And when he's not at a homegoing service, his nephew's legacy lives on at home. A plaque at the base of his flagpole quietly honors a name that lives forever in his heart, Marine Lance Corporal Matthew Snyder. He says Memorial Day used to be just another holiday. Now it's sacred.
To me, it's really important to remember. For Mark Krause, he turned his loss into a lifelong mission to stand for those who serve as well as for those who they left behind. But for Janice Chance, that calling came from the deepest kind of sympathy, the death of her son, Captain Jesse Melton III. His life, his legacy, and her faith have become a beacon for those who walk the same road. In 2008, Captain Jesse Melton III was serving in Afghanistan when his convoy was hit by an IED.
When Jesse was deployed to Afghanistan in May, and he sent me this call.
His team was killed instantly.
This is his watch that was given to him and that we were able to retrieve after he was killed.
Jesse survived the explosion but died later at the hospital from cardiac arrest.
We have his dog tags, so they're precious here to me, and they gave me his name
His
tag.
mother, Janice Chance, remembers that day vividly, a day no parent ever wants to face.
They came to the door and I said, please tell me that my son has only been wounded and not killed. And they said, ma'am, I'm sorry to have to tell you your son's been killed.
But through the grief, she's found a calling. Captain Melton came from a family devoted to service. His sister served in the U.S. Army. She now works for the government. And a cousin also gave the ultimate sacrifice in uniform.
Command Sergeant Major Cornell Gilmore. He served for 22 years in the military. He was killed in Iraq in 2003.
Janice is a Gold Star mother, part of a national organization of women who have lost children in military service. She spends her days honoring not only her son, but the many others who have laid down their lives.
You heal through serving and serving alongside others. You can't be a lone ranger. You need people to survive.
Her Christian faith is the foundation of everything she does. Even in the darkest moments of grief, Janice says her trust in God has never wavered.
So I was strong in my faith, so that when I received the news, even though my heart was breaking, I was able to stand and I had a peace.
Now she uses that story to reach others, especially those who are struggling with loss.
You don't have to be alone. You don't have to be alone. You're not alone. You're not on this journey by yourself. Reach out. Let us know. Reach out to us.
This Memorial Day,
people have turned it into cookouts, movies, sales.
She hopes we all pause.
They died doing that service to preserve the freedoms that we are enjoying today.
Not just to remember.
I want people to remember every day is Memorial Day to us. We will always have a seat at our table empty.
But to live with purpose, just like Jesse did.
It's bitter because my son's gone, but it's sweet because I know what he is and that he ran well and finished well. He died in honor, not in dishonor.
For Janice Chance, that strength comes through service, even in the face of heartbreak. However, for Rotina Lacey and her family, that strength comes from keeping the memory of her son, Airman Makai Cummings, alive. Rotina Lacey finds herself reliving that unthinkable day. On May 8th, 2023, her son, Airman Makai Cummings, just 20 years old, was killed in a hit and run on a Virginia highway.
And at the end of the day, the thing that I want most can't happen.
He was changing a tire, trying to make it back to his Air Force base in North Carolina.
Say, I'm getting ready to get on the road. And I say, okay, you know to call me when you get there. I love you. Safe travels. And that was the last we saw him.
Makai was laid to rest at the Circle of the Immortals. A proud alum of Baltimore City College, Makai was a champion lacrosse player, a leader, and a standout student. He was funny, charismatic, sensitive, and driven to serve.
He went in at 18. So he talked about growing up and, what the Air Force stands for.
After graduation, he enlisted in the U.S. Air Force, joining the 335th Fighter Generation Squadron at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. His job? A skilled journeyman who worked on electronic systems for F-15 fighter jets.
I was like, wow, my baby was so smart. And he was proud of his work.
But off the base, he was just Makai, the heart of the Lacey family, their jokester, their protector, their light.
His absence is felt mostly when we're all together, if that even makes sense. So it's hard.
Rotina chokes up thinking about him, the sound of his laugh, his love for his family, and the future he never got to see.
It's been really a challenge of just continuing on and celebrating the things that you're supposed to celebrate, but being sad at the same time because he's not here to celebrate with us.
While his case remains unsolved, the Lacey family is taking it one day at a time, still looking for answers, but holding on to the memories that keep Makai's spirit alive.
Our family is so important to us.
This is us. Yeah.
This is us.
Memorial Day isn't just about those lost in combat. It's about remembering all who wore the uniform, who never made it home.
When your thought process was praying that he don't go away and, get hurt.
And something
and for it to happen right here.
Right.
For some families, like the Lacey's, the loss came not from war, but from the world back home. And still, the sacrifice is just as deep.
I look at people so differently who are, military spouses, military children. They are sacrificing so much.
Our Memorial Day special continues with a tribute pulled by hand, how a veteran-owned and operated nonprofit is raising awareness about PTSD and honoring those we've lost even after the battlefield. Stay with us.
You're watching WMAR-2 News, part of the Scripps News Group.
Our Memorial Day special continues with a powerful mission on wheels making its way across communities on foot. A nonprofit called Pulling for Veterans is bringing national attention to the invisible wounds of war, PTSD, and the alarming rise in veteran suicides. It's not the size of the trailer that stops traffic. It's what it stands for. This is Pulling for Veterans, a nonprofit founded by veteran Nicholas Walker, who knows the pain of PTSD all too well.
Can you describe what you're feeling right now?
No, you can't describe it.
Messages along the sides of the trailer highlight signs, symptoms, and the urgent need for intervention.
All the memories in the back of your head that you try to hide. So you wind up with, going down one road, intrusive memories, flashbacks, nightmares.
The VA estimates that 22 veterans commit suicide each day.
And then it seems like you're carrying the weight of the trailer every day. So that's why I started this. Because not only does it start conversations about PTSD, but it helps people understand it.
His mission? To get the conversation started and save lives.
But the tractor trailers are going to little small towns across America where your veterans are. So we want to let them know that we're helping. We're trying to do our best.
And on the back of the trailers
Corporal Johnson, Damascus, Maryland,
are the faces of those we've lost. Some were just 25 years old.
Once we start putting faces on the back of trailers of veterans who have lost their battle to PTSD, now it's real. Without a picture, it's not real.
Every time a trailer is rented, 100% of the proceeds go towards veteran rehabilitation. Each trailer is pulled either by truck or by hand.
Typically for me, it's a lot of showing up and just pulling the trailer to help really just emphasize the weight that PTSD can hold on to veterans.
Those pulling the trailers, also veterans who are trying to bring awareness to the rising rate of suicides among veterans.
They matter. They have families. They have people who care for them, and they're gone. So let's save some lives here.
In parades or memorials, they walk and drive mile after mile to raise awareness, not just for those suffering from PTSD, but also those living with secondary PTSD, the trauma of losing someone they love.
That it can hit anybody. It isn't just necessarily veterans. It can be anybody. PTSD can come from any place, anyhow, any person.
It's a heavy journey in every sense of the word, but for the team behind Pulling for Veterans, it's how the healing begins and how hope stays alive.
They may not be aware of some of these things that may be affecting someone they may even love. And taking the trailer could potentially help them help someone they don't know struggling.
A powerful reminder that the battle continues long after the uniform comes off. Now, if you or someone you know is struggling, please call the Veteran Hotline at 988 and press 1. In the heart of Highlandtown, Old Line Spirits is pouring more than just whiskey. It's pouring purpose. Built by 2 Navy veterans, the distillery has become a safe haven for those who've worn the uniform. Their American single malt whiskey may draw a crowd, but it's the camaraderie that keeps people coming back. With the military memorabilia throughout the bar and a whiskey club that trades challenge coins instead of salutes, owners say the place feels like home to many who've served.
It's a very tight-knit community, so people come here, they realize we're vets, they tell their buddies and so on and so forth. We like to think that this is an extension of ourselves and that when people come here, they feel as welcome as they would if they were walking into our home.
For veterans dealing with invisible wounds, spaces like this aren't just nice to have, they're necessary. Coming up, we take a closer look at the traditions, memories, and tributes that give this day its true meaning and why families say every day is Memorial Day. We see the flags, we hear the bugles, but for many, Memorial Day isn't just about the ceremonies. It's about the personal loss, the lasting legacy, and honoring those who never made it home. Tonight, we take a moment to reflect on the traditions, the tributes, and the memories that make sure we keep their stories alive. Rain falling, a gloomy sky. The flag still flies high. Hundreds of people packed the Garrison Forest Veterans Cemetery. Families, friends, and even strangers all united by a simple mission to honor those who served.
Among them, 2 daughters of an Air Force veteran, Raymond Clifton, who served in the Korean War. What began years ago as a visit to lay flowers at their father's grave has become something greater.
And we saw veterans with walkers that were trying to do this, and we felt, okay, if they can stay, and it was a rainy day, if they can stay in the rain, then we can too.
It's been 5 years since the sisters continued this silent tradition. For them, it's a somber duty, but one filled with purpose.
I want my kids to remember my dad and remember his service and remember everyone's service, and that we all owe a lot of gratitude.
And for Sean DeJulis with Care First, a veteran himself, this act of remembrance is personal.
For me, this is very near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love to be able to come out here and show, again, my honor and respect to the families.
Sean believes these small gestures matter, especially for those who gave all and all who gave some.
It's important for me to show up just because, you know, a little bit of rain doesn't hurt, and, you know, to come out and, again, pay our respect, our gratitude, our honor, and just be humble.
At Garrison Forest, it isn't just about the flags in the grass. It's about the gratitude rooted in something deeper, something lasting.
It's emotional because it's just, there's so many people here, and it's just, they all gave.
A quiet place made loud with love this Memorial Day, where each flag speaks volumes without saying a word. We've heard the stories of loss, of love, and of legacy. And while each family's journey is different, there's one thing they all agree on: the importance of Memorial Day. In their own words, those left behind share what this day means to them and why the moments of silence speaks louder than words.
Honoring of the service of those who have paid the ultimate price.
Being able to have a barbecue is because of the people who've served, that they gave of themselves so that the rest of us can be free.
It's a day to honor and remember the fallen, those who paid their sacrifice.
It makes me feel honored that we've had so many men and women that have given the ultimate sacrifice.
Out of respect for all of the servicemen, just all across, not just Air Force, across all of the different services.
Well, it's the start of summer, but it's just a good time to think about everybody who served.
You know, yes, the barbecues are nice and the time with family is nice, but it's also very important to make sure that we remember and honor those who paid that sacrifice and are the reason why we're able to have those barbecues.
Even if it's just a beat, a pause, or a moment, the message is take the time out to recognize the service of our fallen.
Thank you for joining us for this Memorial Day special on WMAR-2 News. If you would like to find these stories, you can find them on WMAR2news.com. To our veterans, thank you for your service. To our families, thank you for your sacrifice. And to our fallen, thank you for our freedom. I'm Sayura Williams, and thank you for watching.